this would be your opportunity to ask Peter all the questions that you always wanted to ask.
Peter, can I just ask, just to clear up in my mind, the question is, the image I'm looking at, I'm looking at Corten steel or timber?
Corten steel.
Okay.
It's a Kingspan benchmark Corten steel system.
Right.
And what's nice about Corten is that you get a variety across the surface from panel to panel. So some might rust in a different way, or the steel might be from a different grain or grain system. So you get a very nice variation.
It's going to have a nice effect on the ground below it.
We've actually kind of developed a water collector at the base of the wall.
Oh, okay.
Pardon? No, this is the limestone podium. There's a...
Yes? No. Otherwise nobody else gets it.
No, I heard Jana. She was asking about the wallscape. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's intended to be limestone ashlar cladding. And again, we were thinking of very fine buildings by Grafton, for instance, the Marine Road building, which has this lovely solid sense about it. We're not going to be able to afford the limestone, so we're going to go with, again, a board-marked concrete, which will be a horizontal banded pattern. But equally interesting because it's this meeting of kind of a groundscape meeting a roofscape, where you have all the spaces in between that kind of junction.
Do you think it will change much if you had a bigger budget?
It probably would, but it's kind of interesting to think that you can build for that kind of price. And while it mightn't be considered the most beautiful architectonic building, we will certainly aim for that. And there's no reason why, in the current climate, that we shouldn't be setting examples of good quality buildings that are built to last and that will grow with time. You know, buildings change. Like the Cordoba Mosque developed like a palimpsest over hundreds and hundreds of years. So it would be interesting to think that this is just a framework, if you like, an enabler more than a finished building.
Excuse me, Peter. We're considering, Tullamore has a county building that uses kind of quite extravagant timber and composite timber to make a chamber, timber with composite steel and other things. Was that considered in any way in the kind of the simple joints that you're making? Is it?
Well, I'm quite familiar with that building by ADK.
Yeah.
You're referring to on Carroll Road.
Yeah.
Which I consider to be very fine. It's weathered extremely well, and often County Council have very little maintenance costs with that building, and that was something that was very much considered as part of the brief. So while it might be considered extravagant, I mean, certain things have to be of a quality to last. And there was a polemic in that building to make the building that was sustainable. If you go into it, I mean, there's some very, very clear decisions taken about the foyer of that of the local authority offices, which is very pared down, plastered interior, and they spend a little bit of money then on the parts that matter and the parts that will be seen. So yes, you could take a view that, you know, there are extravagances within that building, but, you know, within reason. I don't think, certainly we had that in mind in any way when we were developing ours, but we were very conscious that in stage one, because we developed a 100% timber building, Offaly County Council were concerned about it going into stage two. So we had to consider that. So we had a very interesting discussions throughout stage two in the office, certainly, but we tried to allow for a building that would weather and last over time without making the thing vulnerable to the client over the course of its lifetime. Does that answer?
I was just referring to the chambers and the kind of complex steel work to make the timber work.
Yeah.
Will your building stay? Will the junctions stay the way they are, or will they become heavier as you try to make them? Or?
No. They're intended to be very much the way they're drawn. When they can go back to the junction, but it's a very simple, straightforward junction. And I suppose a celebration of the junction as opposed to Anything else? You get back, Carroll? I mean, what was presented is what they're getting. You know, there's no point in saying it would be otherwise. Yeah, that's it. And you can see there we're expressing the hanger for the beam and the angles that are required to fasten the decking to the beams. And there's small double carto beams required in places, so we're gouting them to strengthen the base to prevent twisting. And what else? I mean, all of the beams are going to be exposed, and because it's a single floor escape, we don't need to treat them with fire retardant, so they won't go kind of cloudy white, as is the case with many multi-story buildings that use timber. Colin?
I myself wouldn't be too familiar with any references as to where you remove the back of the stage as one that can open.
Yeah.
And I know you kind of mentioned that the council or whatever said that maybe that would be a good idea. Was that a Eureka moment? A kind of free movement, like in the design where you said, well, let's just get rid of the wall here. And how did you design? How did you kind of what kind of infrastructure did you put in place kind of around the edge of that stage so that it can be?
Well, what's going to happen there is going to be a scaffold system behind a very simple demountable panelled wall. It won't be a roller system. It won't be anything as sophisticated as the Calatrava Studio 11 project in Meeting Square, which you all know from Centre Bar. And this is going to be basic, but it will be an interesting basic. Hopefully, you know, we'll consider the joint. We'll consider the fact that it will need to be demountable of a size. So from behind, the stage area just needs to be black, just an absorbent colour, so we can do whatever we want effectively behind, as long as it's overseen by the theatre consultant. We can see in a year's time if it works or not.
What's the feedback? I know it's very early on in the project. What's the feedback from the community so far?
What do you think, John?
No comment.
I'm not exaggerating, but I think it was one of the best moments in our practice yet to go down to a town that had gathered in the hotel. John been running that night, and there was about 500 people gathered in the Tullamore Court, and it was just incredible. Like, you could hear, you know, everything in the audience. They had a curtain pulled for the model in the centre of the room. They had, you know, exams on stilts. They had, you know,
that's quite common.
on stage. I mean, I think it's important that towns like this develop a kind of a culture of architecture, because they're slightly kind of left to the side in many ways. I know the Department of Education is down there, but towns need kind of proper consideration, and it's a pity that it's only competitions that certainly sometimes realise kind of like quality buildings. The amount of buildings that we've built, I wouldn't say the amount of architecture that we've built, but the amount of buildings that we've built are kind of testament to that in the last 10 years. And we need to reconsider our role as architects in changing it.
Was there any response, or was there any awareness of the fact that it was going to be basically a concrete base and a pre-rusted steel first floor?
There's ongoing concerns, yeah, but I think like anything, you can situate an argument and kind of weight it and justify it to your favour. And I think we've kind of succeeded in doing that. Yes, it's a big, robust building, but in many ways, maybe an arts centre should be like a factory. Why should it be something like a church? It doesn't need to be. You know, it can be a big, robust space, and we're very much keen to work with that. You know, there's qualities in industrial sheds as well, and it's kind of something that we're very throughout.
Has there been any further talks with the community since
Yeah. Well, we've met the Irish Waterways, we've met all the local councillors. We're going down again next week to discuss the Court End. And we're going hopefully on a study trip to a number of Court End steel buildings in the UK to bring a few lucky councillors. No, they're very positive. I mean, it's unusual that one would be building an art centre in Ireland today because there are so many of them. And one of the difficulties, as we all know, is the management and the running of those things can be actually supported. And you may know from being from Tullamore, but there's quite a strong amateur arts kind of like grouping down there. They've been trying to get this off the ground for years. 10 years, yeah.
There's so many activities that are independent before that before that.
Yeah.
It is that everything brings out of this.
Yeah.
This thing you don't need to go out to that sort of that.
Yeah.
It was very well. It kills me to say it.
Miriam. Thanks, Miriam. Fellow competitor.
Just a question about the bridge that was proposed now.
Yes.
You didn't bring that into your scheme, or is it?
No, they have a design build tender out for 3 bridges along the length of the canal in Tullamore. And unfortunately we had no say in the shape or the form or the making of that. Where it lands, the abutments, that's like completely different again, and we were trying to stretch the potential for that because they had only begun to send them out for design build contracts when the competition was won. But it may or may not work to our advantage. We might get to work with the engineers of the bridges and have an effect, or at least a dialogue between the two. But they're going to be quite cumbersome given that they need to get clearance of certain heights over boats going up and down the canal.
Would you like a barge to build it?
Yeah, very much, yeah. That's the only way to go. Yeah. The first part of it next year.
Yeah, I have some question about how important do you think type has become in describing the buildings used to the public?
Typology?
No, it's not typography.
Typography?
Yeah, how did you select the type that you use? How's it going to be built? What will it be made from? How's it mounted?
This is the lettering. It's, let me think what it was. It's Lucinda Central type punch, and we kind of like it because it's got a very clean, sharp, angular shape to it. We're modifying the A so that it's just a simple V turn. We liked it because it's a font type that was used in the 60s for lots of shop fronts, and there's 1 or 2 of them in Ranelagh still that exist. And we effectively have always been interested in typography. I mean, when I worked for Maneo in Madrid, every single building that he developed had a different typography used. And I had always a fascination with this sense of advertising a building through the kind of the message of the typography. So it can't be underestimated. I mean, it mightn't end up being called the Tullamore Community Arts Centre. It might be the, I don't know, Gordon and Mona Centre for the Arts or something. I don't know. There's naming rights to all these places, as we all know, the O2 and whatnot. But it's important to integrate all of those kind of things. Like a building needs to be more than just the form of the facades and things. With an art centre like this, you want to bring in as many people as possible to the place. Does that answer how it's made? It's a perfect slide box.
I think I'm really just wondering, do you think it affects the siding of the building? I think the form of the building would be different.
Not particularly, no. I mean, we were kind of interested just to play with the edges and the corners of the building, so we run the lettering into the corners and kind of hold that twist or that bend before it turns around. So, not really. I mean, it's an integral part of it now, certainly. And given that lettering is done in a horizontal bending, it lends itself to the reading of the facade as a horizontal form as well. It's an incident more than an incredibly important part of the identity. Yes?
I just asked how think that the first step of the project was the beginning of its kind of pure shape, or at least there was an idea about pure proportion.
Yeah.
And I wondered how precious you were of that purity as the project started to come about, beams and structures and bricks in the floor and the sequence of spaces, because I can really appreciate that now in contrast to say, even like say Mises, artist in Berlin, that which is all about the plinth, and then this just everything is all of a sudden this very clear, pure space.
Yeah.
Which in this sense is kind of broken down into sequential thing. And there's pattern to it, rhythm to it, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
But I just wonder how, if you were precious about that purity.
Let me go back to the model. How precious, I mean, it's always easy to be able to react against something. And in a project where you have a site that is so amorphous on so many edges, I mean, the only formal edge really is the canal and the treescape. Apart from that, then you need your own context. So by setting yourself a limit, there's no reason why you can't set yourself a limit. You know, it's about an interesting question. But I always find when you set a limit to a form, you can work with that, and you can work against it, and you can kind of fight it for a while, and then it actually works in your benefit. So there's certainly a bit of shoehorning involved in this, you know, get in there, come on, can't get in. And you know, various subtle shifts and kind of plays between all the kind of volumes within the thing. But you know, I always find it useful when I'm designing to work to, particularly if it's a kind of a relatively unformed space and you're looking for something quite strong in itself, to kind of land on site and hit with a tongue. Yeah. We'll leave it at that. Thanks for the enthusiastic audience, and I look forward to having you in the Arts Centre in the next year.